before. And if I may talk about experience with you, I had gone in, I um, I was having a cup of coffee and I dropped it. And I thought, oh man, what a schmuck, as my dad would call me, you know. And I thought, oh man. So I went cleaned it up. I put the broken cup in the trash, and I grabbed another cup and made my second cup of coffee. And I started walking away. I dropped that one too, and I thought, oh man, what just happened? And I realized on my right side was significantly weaker than my left side. And I looked in the mirror and I didn't like what I saw. And I thought, I think I'm having a stroke. I had my wife, I hate going into ambulances, even though my wife was pleading with me to go into ambulance. I said, no, I'm good. I said, you drive. So we ended up going to um, the emergency room. And from there, they ran some tests and it says, you're being airlifted to a trauma center that specializes in strokes. We don't. And you're having a stroke as we're speaking right now, and it's not looking good. And we look at it, and I'm like, what's happening? And all of a sudden, I'm surrounded by a team of doctors. And honestly, for the first time in my life, I think I was really scared. Even though I went through what I was going through with pancreatic cancer, I was never really scared. I just had it that peace. And but when I got surrounded by all these doctors and nurses, and they're all freaking out, they got me freaking out. And I was like, okay, so there's like, okay, we called it a helicopter, and they're talking, and I hear one doctor says, look, it'll probably be a lot faster. We got an ambulance on standby. Let's just throw them in the ambulance and send them to the nearest hospital, which is like 15-minute drive. He says we'll probably get there before the helicopter lands on the roof. And sure enough, they took me there. They rushed me immediately into the surgery room. They're talking about having surgery. They said I was bleeding profusely from the artery here on the side of my neck, and I'm having stroke. And they're talking, and my default prayer is Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd, and I kind of went into prayer. I'm terrified. My wife is clueless. She's outside. I'm not sure what the doctor is saying to her. She was not allowed to be in the surgery room with me, and I'm scared. I'm scared. And and so we're waiting for the surgeon. Surgeon comes in, introduces himself. He orders another MRI, and they do the MRI, and then I hear him in the background, kind of saying, "It's impossible. It can't be done. That makes no sense. How's that even possible?" And the doctor comes up to me and goes, "Mr. Sage, we're ready to operate, but," he goes, "let me show you images. Let me show you how you're bleeding. Let me show you where you were having a stroke, and right now the bleeding stopped." He goes, "We want to keep you here at least overnight for observation, but," he goes, "I'm not going to cut you up if you're not bleeding." And he goes, "I don't know how to explain this." And in my heart of hearts, I knew what was happening. And, of course, I get sent home. They told me I have severe plaque that's in my brain, that's covering my brain. They called it white plaque. And I was I was still having a lot of the stroke effect. They said I had minor stroke, nothing severe. I was still able to walk, not completely. I was kind of wobbly. I wasn't speaking, fully. I was just being on the quiet side. I was stuttering some of the words. And then I shared it with you. You are one of very few people, I could count them all on one hand, of how many people I shared what I was going with. And you went into, immediately, you dropped everything that you were doing. You said, I really want to help you, and I think I could help you. And I believe in healing powers, and you did your magic. And I went into it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I went into it with an open heart, but with a lot of uncertainty. I don't want to say hocus pocus kind of stuff, but I've never experienced what you do. I knew your heart was pure. I knew your intentions were pure. I knew you have one of the most beautiful spirits and soul of anyone I know. So I welcomed it with open arms. But I never mentioned that to you. But I wasn't unsure. I was unsure. And so, we did, you did what you did, and I know you went into prayer and you went into healing, and you were sending me, just healing energy that I never experienced before. And I ended up going back in the emergency room, and they ran the tests, the same MRI tests, and the doctors came in and says, "Mr. Sayegh, I have to show you." And he starts showing me images, both on, the old traditional X-rays, and also on the computer. He goes, "Let me show you the plaque and the damage you had in your brain before, and let me show you what you look like now." And this was the only difference. The only thing that happened is you were doing your healing magic, and believing that I was going to be healed. And he goes, "I don't know how to explain it. And you were the first call I made, if you remember." I said, "Doc, you're not going to believe this. I'm at the hospital, and here's what they're sharing with me." That was 2 years ago, that this has happened. And I felt like God just waited until this very moment for me to share it. I think there's just someone out there in your audience that just needed to hear this today, that just how special of a gift that you really truly are, and that you do have um, those powers that God spoke of. Those healing powers that are only trusted to the purest and the most gifted individuals. That God says, "I'm gonna trust you with a gift." And you are trusted with a gift. Since then, I go in every 3 months like clockwork. They do the MRI in my brains. They're following up because of fear, that I'm going to have a stroke again. And the results are just incredible. They're phenomenal. I walk normal. I'm exercising. I'm in the gym. I do things I haven't been able to do in quite a long time. And of course, I thank God for blessing me with the gift of healing, and for bringing you into my life, because you have been truly a blessing, and a healer and a believer, and someone that has left an impact, not only on me, but the ripple effect on my family, my wife, my kids, and my community, and everyone in my life. So I thank you, Doc. I've never said it to you in that way, but I'm so grateful for you. Really am.
Thank you so, so much.